2017 marks the year when St. Martin was devastated by two of the strongest category hurricanes of modern times, ripping through the blanket of a country and teared apart its fabric, leaving behind a country in disaster. The hurricanes affected all aspects of our personal, social, and economic fabric of St. Martin. Buildings and structures of all types, especially hard hit was the marine sector. For one reason or the other, there were many boats and yachts here when the hurricanes hit. These vessels, both small and large, sunk around the island in our precious lagoons, Mullet Pond, and along its coastlines. St. Martin had a lot to deal with. A plan was written, St. Martin National Recovery and Resilience Plan, a roadmap to building back better, a fund created by the Dutch government and the World Bank appointed to manage such, and executed by the Emergency Debris Management Project. Then along came the COVID-19 pandemic. March 2020, the world was shut down after that. A year after, having to navigate the contours of the pandemic into normalcy, the Simpson Bay Lagoon and Mullet Pond cleanup, Shipwrek, and Salvaging project began April 2021, with the procurement and procedures completed through the National Recovery Program Bureau, through whom projects are submitted, vetted, and approved. The project to lift all the remaining wrecks in the lagoon and dispose of them in an environmentally sound method was a go. Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure Egbert Durand spoke on the project and the significance of a way forward.
As part of the Emergency Debris Management Project, the Government of St. Martin commissioned the Shipwrek Salvaging and Removal Project that is carried out by the NRPB. This project consists of the salvaging, decommissioning, and disposal of approximately 100 plus vessels which have been observed to be extensively damaged and unclaimed in our lagoon. The project scope also includes the collection, processing, and disposal of storm debris located alongside the shoreline of the Simpson Bay Lagoon. Another important factor within this project is the transportation of the wreckage to a decommissioning yard, where waste segregation and processing will take place in an environmentally sound manner. Once this has been done, the waste is transported off-island for further handling. The actual work is scheduled to be completed in 150 calendar days, and it's on schedule with the execution thus far. The Emergency Debris Management Project is funded through the St. Martin Recovery and Resilience Trust Fund, which is financed by the Dutch government and managed by the World Bank. Apart from being heavily dependent on tourism, I believe keeping our environment clean is something that we should all take pride in. I'm thankful that this project could finally get off the ground and we see the progress in it. I strongly believe that St. Martin will bounce back bigger and better than ever, but it's going to take a joint effort, and project like this is definitely a step in the right direction to recovery for our country.
The Department of Communications spoke to Paul Ellinger, Marine Inspector at the Maritime Sector within the Ministry of TIAT, Tourism, Economic Affairs, Traffic and Telecommunications.
I play a very strategic role, not only in the beginning and the procurement procedures of putting the project all together with NRPB, but at this moment I play an integral role where, because of my expertise, I am a supervisor on the entire project on behalf of Government of St. Martin, and I am basically the eyes and ears for Government of St. Martin and NRPB to make sure that the project is executed as according to the terms of reference in the project proposal put by the contractor.
Ellinger explained further upon the Shipwrek and Salvaging project, filling in some important details about the work currently undergoing and an account on the status of the debris.
While we were putting the project together, we worked on the project together with NRPB. There were very strict guidelines from the World Bank that had to be followed. And there was a lot of consultation done with the necessary stakeholders. For example, Nature Foundation played a role in there where they took over the environmental risks and made studies. And they are actually also involved in supervision of the project along with myself. So that has been done. As far as the contract with the company that is assigned to do the work right now. It is cleaning up of all the wrecks that were left behind by owners or people that receive monies from insurance companies, and they just walked off and left the boats. Government of St. Martin went into a legal procedure of acquiring those wrecks, and these are the wrecks that will be picked up. In addition to that, there will also be a shoreline cleanup, and there will be 5 meters from the land and 5 meters from the water. So you'll have a total of 10 meters between the shoreline and the water line for cleaning up of debris. So it's not only the wrecks, but also shoreline debris. Right now, the project is focused on the entire Simpson Bay Lagoon. And that includes everything that encompasses on the Dutch side of the lagoon. For me, there is debris all over, not only in the lagoon, but also out there in the ocean because of the hurricane. And there was a lot that was cleaned up after Irma on the beaches and stuff like that, but that was just on the shoreline in the close vicinity. But there is a considerable amount of debris outside in the ocean, in the ocean between 0 and I'd say 4 miles offshore. We have quite a bit of debris from hurricane debris, and there you can only see the bigger pieces in the lagoon, but there are lots of small, pieces of debris in the lagoon. It was the idea, it is still the idea to the bigger wrecks to take them and donate them to the Nature Foundation, where they can do artificial reef with the wrecks. But at the moment, it's a little bit challenging for them because of funding. You have to have, the proper funding to prepare the wrecks, tow them, place them, get the necessary permission to sink the wrecks and make it, usable for the marine environment. But it is a wish. It is just that there's so much technicality in trying to make that happen that I'm hoping that in the end of the project, at least 1 or 2 of those wrecks can be given to the foundation. There is within the Ministry of Romy, because they are the ones that have custodian of the sea. We as maritime, we just oversee what happens in the marine environment and the marine sector. But the ones that has custodian of the sea is basically the Ministry of Romy. And within the Ministry of Romy, there are what we say is policies in place to avoid such from happening. The thing is, the 2 ministries need to work in cohesion of making sure that we can collaborate the work together, where the both ministries can make this happen. Because one has oversight and expertise, and the other one has the regulations that needs to come together in order to prevent this from happening again. And it is something that we are working on right now, and hopefully once the lagoon is being cleaned, Romy can increase on their surveillance, for example. We will assist them with that, and then they should get stricter on applying the necessary policies and regulations that they have in place to prevent such from happening again.
Next, Dcomm spoke to Claret Connor, the director of the National Recovery Bureau, regarding historical information on the project and essential details regarding the Shipwrek and Salvaging project.
Well, the ship salvaging project that is on the way now has been part of the one of the projects that the trust fund is funding. The trust fund actually was the funds that was provided to St. Martin after Hurricane Irma to assist in our recovery. The ship salvaging project is part of one of the projects that is under implementation by the National Recovery Bureau, managed by us and supervised basically by the World Bank. The ship salvaging project is a project that has a few activities associated with it. It's to clean up the lagoon from all of the ships that has been affected, not only from Hurricane Irma, but all of the ships that has been at the bottom of the lagoon now for years, even going back to Irma, and also the shorelines and the Malabik Pond. It came about because of the fact that in addition to the lagoon cleanup, there were other emergency projects that the trust fund funded. The projects are proposed by St. Martin government and decided upon by consensus by the steering committee. And once these projects have been approved, a budget is created, a project is written, a grant agreement is drafted and signed between the World Bank and St. Martin, and the task of the National Recovery Program Bureau is to implement, supervise, execute, and do all of the financial, fiduciary, the technical work, and the management of these projects. What we do is we hire experts in the different fields in terms of and supervising and executing the projects. And as such, we continue with the implementation of these projects. The budget available for this project is about $14 million. The contract for the contractor to clean up the lagoon, as it stands now, is about $11.6 million, and the supervision is about $1 million. So at the end, this is a very substantial amount, but it will be done within a short period of time, 150 days. So by the next hurricane, the lagoon should be, or the next hurricane peak season, the lagoon should be completely clean from all debris.
Connor further expounded on the crucial role the environmental stakeholders played in the process and management of the shipwreck and salvaging project.
Well, as you know, the project primarily is operated within the lagoon and the Malabay Pond. The lagoon, the Malabay Pond, and the outskirts of the lagoon, the shore areas. Nature Foundation has been epic. All of these local environmental groups have been very vocal and also very informed and involved in the process leading up not only to the awarding of the contract, but in the drafting of the environmental and social management plan. That plan is part of the project, and the supervisor needs to manage this project within the ESNP, and also the contractor have to live up to all of the elements that is included in the environmental and social management plan of this project. So they have been very much involved.
This project contributes not only to the maritime sector, but also the tourist economy, Connor explains.
Well, the areas of development for St. Martin in all sectors, we need to look at it from the perspective of what it does for us as citizens, what it does for us as a community. The beauty of St. Martin is the lagoon that we have. There's this huge body of water that sits within the country and serve to protect, marine life and also the boating and marine sector. What we are doing in terms of cleaning up the lagoon is ensuring that generations to come can benefit as we have from the beauty and everything that the lagoon provides. Once we have that in place, and once that is sound, then those that visit our island, those that come to share the beauty of St. Martin, can enjoy it with us. So I think that from the perspective of how this is for St. Martin and its future and its people is primary, and the secondary part is how we could sell it and how we could present it and share it with others. The salvage and wreck removal project is part of one of the programs that we have within the trust fund, which is the Emergency Debris Management Project, and that covers not only salvaging of the ships, but also the dealing with the day-to-day management of our landfill and the overall improvement thereof. So, that project has a budget of about 60 million, and hopefully by the end of this, but when we get through with the entire implementation of this project, we would have a well-run landfill with all of the different components that is necessary for us to manage our daily waste, and we would have had a clean lagoon and shorelines.
The Shipwrek Recovery and Salvaging Project is being supervised by EOS Maritime, a marine specialist whose field manager was interviewed by Dcomm. Foko Ringersma spoke about the background and the safety measures being taken in this project to clean up the Simpson Bay Lagoon and Mullet Pond.
I'm part of the supervisory team. NRPB has engaged 2 companies to perform this work. One is the contractor itself, and secondly is us supervising the contractor whether they do a good job or not. I've been in the field of marine salvage for the last 35 years. Started as a salvage master, performing the salvage works themselves. Since the last 5-6 years, I do this work mainly for insurance companies and governments. There's a variety of safety measures. It's all about safety, and it's all about the environment. So we got a textbook for the contractor of about 500-600 pages with all sorts of HSE, as we call it, health, safety and environment regulations he has to comply with.
In addition, Ringersma elaborated further on managing the project from a financial point of view and from daily operations.
Contractor is engaged on a lump sum, so the financial aspect for the contractor remains the same. He gets a lump sum price paid for. Where we come into place is when the contractor is calling in for variation of work for which he claims more money, then we have to appraise that and we have to validate that before NRPB will agree to a variation of the contract. And secondly is that the contract is to a time restraint of 150 days, and we are there to safeguard that the operation is finished within the 150 days.
He shared further methods of spotting, retrieving, and the challenges of the shipwreck debris.
They only started a month ago, and so far they have removed 24 ships. It's only fair to say that the 24 ships out of the 109 is the low-hanging fruit, so are the easy picks. So it's going to be challenging for the contractor to finish it within the 150 days, but I'm confident that they will manage. The contractor, they have 30 people on site. It's about 10-15 Dutch and around 15 local employment. For the supervisory team of EOS, we have a team of 5. The team of 5 is on a rotation basis with 2 men on site. And apart from our 2 men on site, we have 4 local employees engaged for the yard and the offshore services. Well, there's a variety of methods. Of course, the first was the plan which we received from NRPB at the time of putting a bid in for both ourselves and the contractor. And the first objective for us when we arrived here was to verify all these findings of NRPB. For that method, we used drone footage and we used ROV, which is an underwater drone, to confirm, especially for the sunken wrecks, the location and the condition of the wrecks. We don't use divers. The contractor, not yet, but he is going to engage divers for the subsea vessels to be lifted from the seabed. As I said, the contractor started with the low-hanging fruits, but I foresee that there are a few challenges ahead with the bigger vessels if you go further from the airport in the direction of Mullet Pond Bay. There are a few challenges ahead of this.
He provided an overview of work being carried out until the end.
On the work site itself, it can be divided in 3 aspects. It's the physical removal of the wreck itself. which is executed from a barge in the Simpson Bay Lagoon. Then we have the shoreline cleanup, which is ongoing with a team, as you can see behind you, skimming through all the mangroves, finding the household debris and the hurricane debris left behind. And the last aspect of the operation is the recycling yard at Airport Road. Well, the majority of the wrecks is fiberglass, and the fiberglass is going to be recycled. Once the ships are at the Dcomm site, they're going to be dismantled and going through the shredder and then stored in containers for overseas transport and to an incinerator for final disposal. The scrap metal, of course, that has a residual value that belongs to the contractor.
Healthy lagoons and their shores not only provide us with a number of environmental benefits, but they also influence our quality of life and strengthen our economy. We all stand to benefit from this important resource. It remains our responsibility to continue to practice stewardship in and around our lagoons by keeping them healthy for all.